ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהכל נהיה בדברו. When one reads the book of Genesis, it says that in the beginning, the haaretz hayta tohu vavohu. The earth was chaotic, disorder. There was no order. Then God said, let there be light, and there was light. The Kabbalah, which is an esoteric type of study, that isn't my preference really, but many a time there are many important lessons that one can learn from it, says the following. What was this chaos? What was this tohu? What kind of universe was it that there was a disorder? It says there were kelim. Kelim is a word that means elements, vessels. We're not too sure really what it means, but they were perfect. Maybe there's some sphere that was totally without any kind of blemish at all, a perfect element. And there were many of them, and they would bump into each other, but that's about it. And eventually, a phenomenon occurred named Shevirat HaKelim. These vessels broke. And that world is no more, and what remained were little pieces of those vessels, and those are really that are the foundation of this world. And this world is now imperfect. We don't have the perfect vessels. They're imperfect. However, there are these little pieces that remind us that you can go to the divinity, because these are really the holiest elements of our universe. What is the lesson I can learn from that? Why didn't these vessels speak to each other? Because they were total, complete. They were perfect. You know, if you are perfect, you don't need anybody else. You are totally immersed in yourself. The only thing you can do is just bump into somebody else, but that's about it. But you don't want to learn anything from anybody else. But in a world that is imperfect, you're looking for connections. You can connect with somebody else. And by connecting to somebody else, you can learn from somebody else. You can grow. Something that is perfect is finished already. The Bible says about man, lo tov. The man is not complete. You know, he needs somebody. He has to connect with somebody else. You know, there's a guy by the name of Yuval Harari. He is making a lot of noise lately. He's a professor of the Hebrew University in Israel. And he says, why did the human species succeed above all other species? Because we are able to connect with each other. We have a narrative in common. You know, we help each other. We learn from past experience. We are not perfect, but we are perfectible. We keep on growing because we connect with other people as well. So those people that think that know it all, they'll never grow. Those people that think they're self-sufficient in everything, they'll remain isolated. But most of us that know that we have deficiencies, that we can learn from somebody else, and read a book. I know many a book that I read, I don't find anything really important. But when I find one idea that somehow tickles my mind, I think that the whole thing was very worthwhile, because I learned something new that I wasn't aware of before. So make sure that you don't live like a hermitage. In Jewish tradition, to be alone is not the answer. Lo tov heyot ha'adam levado. It's not good for man to be alone. You have to connect. You have to be with other people. You have to learn from them. You have to help them, and they will help you. This way, the entire society will grow and become a better society. In a sense, this is really the secret of all human relations, you know, in a company. The successful companies are not necessarily the ones that have the greatest leader. It's when the organism functions internally, when there is communication between the different departments, when the right hand knows what the left hand is doing at all times, and together you can grow better. A family unit where there is communication is a healthy family. But in a family where everybody thinks that they're perfect, they don't need anybody else, that family certainly will only end up destroying each other. Maybe the resurgence or surgence of divorce rates in the last decades and so on has to do a lot with communication. Maybe we feel we are independent. We can live by ourselves. We can fulfill all our needs. We don't need our partner. We can fend for ourselves and make a world, a life for ourselves. That may be one of the reasons also for the increment in the rate of divorce. So be aware, we are imperfect beings, but we are perfectible. And we can only attain greater perfection by relating to other people, by teaching them and learning from them. When there is an interchange of ideas, you have a healthy society.